little bit of rocker work this morning. Try and do this as a follow along. It might be challenging, but so let's get on all fours. Put your toes in, heels away. Put pressure, or if you have a fabric band, put that around your thighs. Put pressure down into the floor through your outside of your shin. Not a lot of pressure. We don't want to like be loading too much right now. We just want to warm up those hips. And just rock your hips back. Make sure your hips aren't, your tailbone isn't tucked under and you're rounding your low back. We want nice kind of neutral spine here, where we can really feel our glutes and our hamstrings. Just a little bit, not a lot of pressure, just to warm everything up. You can alternate little side bends here, just warming up everything in the body as we do this. So again, not a lot of pressure through the outer shins here. You rock side to side. You can actually kick your feet out one side to the other if you want. Do a little side rocker. Just kind of warm everything up. Do a little kick out, so as you come up, you're going to kick the heels or the feet out and then come back down. This will internally rotate your thighs as you do this, so thighs rotate in, and out, in and out. And as we come up, let's make sure we're not coming up too high and we're not thrusting anything forward. Just want to keep those hips back. Again, there's not a lot of pressure. I'm not pressurizing too much to really work. I'm just trying to warm the glutes up here as I do this. Little kick outs. And when we kick out, make sure we don't kick out and like bring our heels in or toes out. You want to keep those toes in and heels away the entire time as we do this. Again, side bend, rocker, put weight into one side or the other as you rock back. It's a good way just to really get the body warmed up and ready to work a little bit. Let's do a little bit of a stationary crawl. So in your tabletop, all fours, again, make sure your hips aren't tucked under. You want a nice neutral spine here, and just take a step, opposite hand, opposite knee. Get a nice side bend so your lat pulls down into that side that you're bending, and then come back, and then opposite hand, opposite on the other side. It's just a little tap, 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 tap. One side and then the other. So opposite hand and opposite knee moves, so your knee comes to the same side here. This is a little, if you don't have a lot of room to crawl in your space, this is just a great option to work on some crawling techniques. Just doing this. Nice little side bend as we do this. So my head goes over my kind of loading leg. So from the front here, I'll show you. So I bend, side bend, and then my head goes over this leg. And then I go to this side. So this kind of works your spine, gets it all bending and twisting and moving, and it's not staying stationary in that single plane as we do that. All right, if you can, tuck your toes in that rocker, and then put your hands on the floor, and then push back into like a gargoyle squat, and then come back down and back. It's really gonna help get some length in your lower back as you do this, and opening up the hips. So as I do this, my knees are together here in the low, and then as I push back and I push our hips back, I'm gonna open up my knees, swing them out to the side, and then come down, and then back. So it's a here, open, and then close. Open, close. And this will help open up those hips. Open, close. We're not really trying to like get into a full resting squat here. We're just working on those hips to open them up as we get through this here. Okay, you can grab a quick drink of water. All right, let's get into some rockers. You can do this assisted on the floor, assisted on a bench, unassisted, whatever your level's at. If you want to use a fabric band, go right ahead and do that. So we're gonna get into that rocker. So in from the seiza, bring your hips up, put pressure down into the floor and those outside of those shins. Pretend you're ripping a piece of paper apart. As you do that, toes in, heels away. You wanna keep our hips going back. You wanna make sure we're not pinching in our, oh, that's not my truck. We're not pinching in the hip flexors. Sorry, car alarm's going off outside. And just push back. If you need support, we're gonna use support here. It'll help to make sure you're not trying to hold yourself up with those hip flexors. So support or high support if you need. Floor if it works better. Your body might be a little bit different than mine, whatever feels best. And also make sure we're not using a lot of our quads. We want to be pushing that pressure, ripping that paper apart, and pushing our hips to the wall behind us, and using our glutes and our hamstrings mostly, and the quads are secondary. And this should also light up your low back here. Remember to breathe. Try and remember to keep your shoulders down. Just pushing back this entire time. Sometimes your body will decide to stop putting that pressure down, so you won't feel you're engaged as much. Just really focus, be like, check in. Am I still trying to rip that paper apart? Am I still getting those hips back? Am I still feeling my glutes and my low back? Doing this rockers really helped me develop my muscle in my low back that I lost from years of sitting at an office desk. So this really helped me gain my low back muscle to be able to sit pain-free without a backrest. Again, breathe. Release the shoulders, release the neck. I always tense up and I have to remind myself to untense. Again, if you need to take breaks while we do this, you can take a break. I'm almost going, not really till failure, but I really feel the burn in my glutes, in my hamstrings. You can use support if you need to. Make sure you're nice and tight in your abdomen, not like you're trying to crunch your abs, but you're just zipping everything up in the front. All right, let's take a little break from that. That was tough. I don't know how many I did. I wanted to count, but I can't count and talk at the same time. All right, let's find that rocker again. Now we're gonna do just one side rocker. So from that rocker, find pressure on both sides. Transition the weight into one side. So one glute's lit up, one hamstring. The other leg is light or barely, or not touching if you can. Use the support if you need to. Pushing that hip back, staying not so tight and compressed in the hip flexor. Don't be tucking your hip under. You want it out and push your hip back. I like to put my other opposite non-loading foot leg on my loading side, kind of on the ankle here, or the heel, and push back. Kind of helps open up that ankle while you do this. A lot of people's ankles are locked up because we just stay kind of walking and not really doing a whole lot of like ankle turns or anything like that. So putting your non-loading foot on your heel can help open up your ankle a bit while you do this. So we're pushing through the outside blade or outside edge of the shin, loading up the hamstring, glute here, lower back if you can. Again, make sure your front side is nice and zipped up. So kind of like you're doing like almost like a Kegel type. Well, I can't think of the word right now. Just like make sure everything's nice and tight in the front. We don't want to be pushing our gut out. You want it nice and tight and just push that hip back. If you want to take that non-loading leg completely off, like the knee off, you can do that here. Really load up that other side. If you really want to be advanced, you can go without support at all, which after this amount of time, it's gonna burn. Again, let's make sure our shoulders are down, our neck isn't too tight. Mine's probably looking like it is, always does. And we're breathing. All right, let's release that for a second. If you just go into a little bit of a pigeon here and just kind of stretch out that side for a second. Just wiggle around. We don't want to be loading here, we just want to just stretch out that hip for a second. We just worked it pretty good. All right, we gotta do the other side because we don't want to be a lopsided bum. All right, let's find that rocker again. Load up both sides so we find our positions. Again, trying to push that paper part, pushing our outside shins into the ground, using support, high or low. Shift your weight to that other side that you didn't work. Find the right position for your, oh my goodness, your hips. Don't tuck them under, get them out, get a nice neutral spine, nice and strong in our low back, making sure we can feel our hamstring and our glutes loading and our hip flexors are not doing all the work. Or a quad. If you come up too high, it might be too much quad work. We really want that glute working here. So light on the other leg, again, pushing your loading leg heel down with the non-loading leg and pushing back, help open up the ankle. We're just gonna push back. Breathe, shoulders down. As I do this, I should have mentioned on the other side, my body is rotating, like my navel, my chest is rotating over to that loading leg. So from the front here, as we're here, we're kind of pointing this way. So we're not staying center as we do this. I'm kind of here. Another great thing is kind of nice sometimes if you actually put your hands down and go opposite and push the hip back, you can really stretch things out as well. But you're still working this hip. I tend to like to be this way, but also this has a nice stretch. So it's whatever feels good for your body today. Do whichever one feels great. Again, we make sure we're pushing down in that outside of the shin best as you can. I find this side, I have a hard time getting this ankle down as much as I'd like. Still has some unlocking to do in there. Pushing the hip back, glutes loaded, glutes lit, hamstrings working. Hip flexor is not. Pushing our hip back. Sometimes adjusting how much our hip is kind of out or back. Sometimes if you don't have a mirror, it's really hard to tell where your hip is, if you're too far out or not. You just want it going backwards to the wall behind us. All right, let's just take that little pigeon stretch. Whatever's gonna feel good just to stretch out what we just worked. All right, let's just do a few of those rocker to little gargoyle squat. Just scrub out those hips a little bit after that work. See if your hips feel more open than they did when we started. If you get into that resting squat, great. If you can't, it happens. It takes me a while of really warming up and opening everything up before I can really sink down into it. Again, my desk job does not help with that situation. All right, right, and just a quick little rocker movement for you. Not very long, but to the point, and everything your lower body needs for the day.